Well, hi, I'm Kim Dent, and I'm from South Carolina. I live in Fort Mill, South Carolina, a tiny little town just outside of Charlotte. Um, let's see, my pronouns are she, hers, and I have a gay daughter who came out about 9 years ago after she had gotten out of college. Kate is my firstborn, and what I've always known about her is that she has an intense sense of justice. She's very compassionate, especially for the underdog. She is sensitive. She is easily wounded. And she has a deep, even though she's sensitive, she has a deep grittiness about her. She can dig down deep when she has to. So those are some things that come to mind about Kate. I learned that she is a lot more sturdy than I thought she was. I've always seen her as just so compassionate and kind, and yet since she's come out, I see a real depth of sturdiness in her, that she just is. I suppose it's just knowing herself and being known has caused more of her to come out and be seen by me and by the world. So as a former church lady, women's ministry director at my church, and somebody who thought I had it all figured out and was real secure in that, I suppose our relationship has changed in that I am different. I am so different because I have learned so much from Kate and from her coming out. And I guess the thing that I could say is I learned there's so much that I did not know. And to go through life thinking that you got it all figured out is really a shallow way to live. And there's so much more for all of us to understand and to know about God, about faith, and about people. So much I've learned. I had been operating under a really sneaky and I guess almost hidden to me sense of judgment and a spiritual pride type of a thing that honestly I never knew was there until we had to address some things, and Kate has helped me to see that in myself, and it was ugly and it was painful for me to see how I was, and I wasn't all I suppose in terms of coming out experiences that I have heard, ours, thank God I didn't say hideously horrible things to her. I didn't shut her out of the house or anything like that, but the subtleties and the little innuendos and the little comments were enough to show me that that I had a judgmental spirit, and God had to deal with that. So much I've learned and will continue to learn until Jesus comes back about all the things I got to work on me. So that takes a lot of the pressure off of me trying to fix Kate, right? Because I got too much of my own stuff I got to deal with. And what was the second question? About my relationship with the Lord is, wow. My faith has never been deeper than it has been on this journey. I could not have learned the things that I've learned about Jesus, about my faith, about love, had Kate not had the bravery to come out to us. Wow, I thank her for that. Kate had just graduated from college and had her first job as a RN in a neighboring town in Columbus, Ohio. And also had just moved into a new apartment with her best friend, who we thought was her best friend all along. And she had invited us to come and see their new place. And so that was cool. And we had a nice little visit. But then the following weekend, she called and said, hey, I have something really important I got to tell you. I wanted to come up and see you. So she made the 2-hour drive the following weekend. I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, great. Come on up. And I knew the moment that she came in, like, oh, this is something big. And just by her face, she was so intent and intense, maybe. And she said, Mom, Dad, come and sit down. And she basically read us a beautiful and thoughtful letter. She read it to us because she said, I don't think I can get through this without reading it. So I'm just going to read it. And you're just going to have to listen. And so she read this amazing coming out letter. And in hindsight, I can say, oh, it was so beautiful and amazing and brave. But I'll say at that moment, I felt like I was in a tunnel. I felt like everything sounded tinny and like bad speakers playing, and like I was so confused and so disoriented as she was reading it. And I remember I was sitting on the coffee table and she was sitting on the couch. I remember just instinctively feel like I needed to get closer to her. I needed to touch her. Like it almost felt like this isn't real. Is this really happening? And so I had to like have my hand on her leg while she was reading, like, okay, this is real. This is really happening. It was really disorienting. Kate reminds me that several times I interrupted her in the letter. I don't have any memory of that, but she said it. I'm sure it happened. Me saying stuff like, that's not God's best for your life. It's, the things that we learn how to say in church and to our kids. And so I'm sure I did that, though I can't remember it at all. Maybe that's a grace from God. But the other thing I remember is there's so much I wanted to say and I didn't, by the grace of God. It's almost like I have this analogy or this vision of me sitting there, Kate sharing, and Jesus beside me with his hand over my mouth. Like, don't say it, just listen. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I didn't say a lot of things that really would have hurt her or wounded or caused her to really shut down in this really powerful moment that I'm sure took her years to come to. So it was really intense. And I remember as soon as she was done, I do remember saying, wow, taking a big breath and saying, that had to be the hardest thing you've ever done. I don't know what to do with my face. I don't know how to be. I'll be back. So let me have a moment. And I remember just going out on the longest bike ride of my life. So there's more to that story, but I came back and that started our journey, and it was really bumpy and awkward. I felt mute. I felt like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to ask, because then I was really concerned about saying the wrong thing. I didn't know the language. I didn't even consider gay people. They weren't on my radar before Kate came out. So, well, I will say one of the things that immediately became clear that I was inaccurate in my beliefs was my belief that gay people weren't Christians. They just weren't. How could they be? And when Kate came out, it's like immediately I'm like, oh, that blew that one out of the water. I know my girl loves Jesus. That's a given. Okay, that I was wrong about. So there has to be a whole lot of other things that I was inaccurate, or the nuance was wrong, or I didn't get it. So that was a huge aha moment for me that happened right away, because I knew. I'm like, I didn't question that at all. I knew that Kate loved Jesus. Let's see. The other surprising thing that I think is really important to share, because it was, I will never forget this, is after I had ridden miles away from my home to some little park nearby, honestly, I felt like I needed to have a hissy fit with God. I had some things to say. I was mad. I was really mad. And I remember just slinking down on this picnic table at this park and just having if you can picture the 2-year-old tantrum on the floor, banging the table. What? Do you even hear me? Are you even real? What? And this whole sense, and it's hard to explain it, but it's almost like a supernatural experience I'm trying to explain to you. But all at once, I felt like I was that toddler and I was having this breakdown, mental anger, this fight with God. And at the same time, I was being held. Just held, like the screaming toddler, just hold him and look, okay, I know. Held the whole time. Let it out, say what you gotta say. And then I remember God reminding me about this prayer, this really dangerous prayer that I prayed when I was really ignorant and young in my faith. And I said something like, oh God, break my heart with what breaks yours. I love you so much. I want to be one with you. Oh. And he reminded me of that in some way in my head. It's like he brought that back. It was like years and years ago. And in the same moment, impressed upon me this, how can you know how my heart breaks for my beloved LGBTQ people unless you love them like a mother, unless you love them like a father, and you know them like a mother or a father? You will never know how much I love them unless you love them like that. That was it. And it was like a supernatural moment that I just felt the actual presence of God. I felt like I wanted to sink into the ground and just dissolve. And yet I knew it was his answer to me. It wasn't like, you've been wrong all along. I haven't really changed my theology in terms of what I imagine God's original design for our sexuality. It hasn't really changed that much. But I'm no longer absolutely certain of what I think I know. I will not go there anymore. I used to hold my faith tight in my fist. Like, I got this. I got this. And now, since Kate's come out in this journey, it's like God has shown me, no, faith is to be held like this, out to him. He can arrange it, he can tweak it, he can nuance it, he can show me where I'm off base. He can add, he can subtract. It's up to him to do it, not me, not even my beloved church, not my church leaders. It's up to him. And that has been the biggest change in this journey. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful. I would say I attend a welcoming and not affirming church. I mean, they believe that God intended marriage and sexuality to be between a man and a woman. However, I feel like it's important for me to be there. And my daughter actually has served at this church as on the medical team as a nurse. So she's welcome to serve there. Now there are some things, they will not allow her to teach. And so there's things that that are problematic and maybe a little tough to swallow. However, I feel like it's important for us to be in this space, because how else will people who were like me, who never considered gay people, gay families? My daughter has 2 little boys. I have 2 grandsons who never even considered there are families that love Jesus, that happen to be gay and happen to be raising kids who also love Jesus. What are we going to do with this? And how are we going to be better? And how are we going to figure out how to make the main thing, which is loving Jesus and loving ourselves and our neighbors? That's the big thing, right? So we have remained there, and we have been real out front about, Kate and I have gone, every time we go to a new church, and Kate and her wife now go to an affirming church, because they need to be there. But she also will attend, on Christmas and stuff with the whole family with us, because she knows that it's important to just have a presence and to let people see this is life. These are people who God loves. So until further notice, I will be at my welcoming and non-affirming church, because I think God means for me to be there, to have a voice there. Take a deep breath. Realize that there is nothing that could ever happen to you or your loved one or your family that God has not already been already orchestrating and helping, and He's already there. He's already there for you. It's just a matter of realizing that where people and churches, well-meaning pastors and religious leaders, where they fall short or miss the mark, God will never fall short of your expectations of Him. He will never leave you or your loved one. He always loves you all wholeheartedly, every bit about you, every bit about your child. You can rest assured in that, regardless of the what you experience, and even your sweet families and your church communities that may or may not get it right. When people are responding, or let's say reacting out of fear or ignorance, it's not going to be great. And so the word I would have for you is grace, humility, trust, that this is actually not the ending of something. This is a brand new beginning of a greater faith that you will not believe. You will not believe how beautiful it can be, as long as you keep your eyes on Jesus and don't walk away. Don't walk away from your faith. This is where the beauty starts, right here. This is where the rubber meets the road in your faith journey. So that's what I would tell a parent. And I would say, don't be afraid to find others who are walking this journey. Don't be afraid to say it out loud, when the time is right for you and when it's okay with your kid. Don't be afraid to share your story. Oh, you wouldn't believe how many other people are like, oh yeah, me too. Oh, you have a gay kid? Oh, I did too. I didn't know we were allowed to say that out loud. Yep, we are, and we need to say more of it. So those type of things I would say. And yeah, just never be afraid to reach out and allow yourself to grieve. There is a grieving process, because we're really grieving our expectations of what we thought our family would look like. That's valid. So don't let anyone shame you for grieving. And you know what? My daughter said an amazing thing to me when I was really struggling those first several months, into years, I guess. I was back and forth with just wrestling with this whole thing. And she said, Mom, look, it's taken me years to figure this out for myself and who I am as a person, as a woman, as a child of God. I don't expect you to have this figured out overnight. So I would say, take that great, wise advice from my daughter. And I hope that your child is as graceful as that and will let you have the time to work this out and figure it out. But ask questions. It shows great honor when you ask questions of your children. And don't be afraid to ask the wrong question. I think just asking shows love and it shows vulnerability. And at least from my daughter's point of view, she said, I would much rather you ask than to be mute and not say anything. So be free and know that this is a journey that has so much more good in it than problems. So if you keep your eyes on Jesus, that's what I would say.